Shalom, shalom, Israel, brothers. Y'all are coming back at you with another cold cut. I'd like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, right? Shabbat shalom to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Double honors to the men out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth, right? Building up this temple, right? Trying to seal the hopeful elect. Shalom, shalom. The mighty Aquavs, right? Guiding their households, bearing the burdens of education. Salakia. If you do have children, shalom, shalom, doing mighty womanly works, and the mighty children abiding in their parents' households, abstaining from the peer pressure of this world. Shalom, shalom. This is going to be a quick cold cut, just going into children are an inheritance from the Lord. It's important that, like I said, if you have a, if you're a man that has a rib and she bears children, that's a mighty thing. That's a mighty thing if you're a woman that's allowed to bear children, man. There's certain women that has their womb shut up by the Most High, right? If you have a child, that's an inheritance from the Most High, whether it be male or female. Let me go to the book of Psalms 127 and verse 3. It's the book of Psalms chapter 127 and verse number 3. Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. So children they're a heritage, right? Meaning you can teach your heritage and pass that down from generation to generation, right? And the fruit of the womb is his reward, right? Shalakia. Because when your woman bears children, that's the fruit of the womb. That's a reward from the Most High. Like I said earlier, there's certain women that can't have children. There's certain infirmities or certain things they got to go through for them to even be allowed to have that, man. That's a reward from the Most High. We can't take that lightly, right? All praise to the Most High. If you do have children, man, you get to teach them law, statutes, commandments. You get to teach them the culture, the heritage, the Lashawan Kadash, the Hebrew, right? You get to teach them who they are, right? That's a heritage you can pass down, right? Let me go to the book of Proverbs 20 and 7, right? This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 20 and verse number 7. The just man walketh in his integrity, his children are blessed after him, right? So if you have children, if you are able as a man to have that reward from the Most High, right, then you have to walk in your integrity, because you want your children to be blessed after you. You can't have children and then want to teach them certain things, but you're not doing certain things, man. You have to be able to teach your children. You have to be able to walk in your integrity. Why? Because children, they're always watching you. They know when you're going off. They know when you're being a hypocrite. So it's our job to walk in our integrity. So guess what? That your children can be blessed after you. So the Most High can raise up your daughter or your son mightily in this thing, so they can have integrity. Let me go to the book of 1 Samuel chapter 1 and 10. It is a mighty thing if you're able to bear children, right? I mean, that was a high thing. Right now, you have a lot of women, they don't want children. You have women, they don't want kids. I don't want kids. Or I'll never have a kid. You have women getting their so-called tubes tied, man. If you don't know what that is, you can kind of look it up, right? So they will never have children, right? You got men out that, they just having, they have 30 kids, but they don't take care of none of them. Still going out and clubbing 2 in the morning. And you got 3 kids at home that have nothing to eat, but you trying to hang out with the guys. They don't got nothing. You don't work. You still living in your mother's basement and don't have no desire to get out of it. Right now, if you fell on hard times, that's different. But you're just there because you want to be. It's comfortable, right? Our women should want to have children. Our men should want to raise up these children. This is 1 Samuel chapter 1 and verse 10. And this is talking about Hannah. And she was in bitterness of soul and prayed unto the Lord and wept sore. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thy handmaid, and remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but will give unto thine handmaid a man child, then will I give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. So she wept so sore because she couldn't have children. That's how great of a thing it was to have children in the ancient world, that she was crying sore. She even vowed a woman vowing a vow to the Most High to, look, if you allow me to have a child, then this child will be offered up to you, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. That's how she felt. That's how important it was for her to bear children. Verse 12. And it came to pass as she continued praying before the Lord, that Eli marked her mouth. Now Hannah, she spake in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she had been drunken, and Eli said unto her, how long wilt thou be drunken? Put away thy wine from thee. So Eli thought she was drunk, right? But she wasn't. She was just in bitterness and sorrow of heart. Verse 15, and Hannah answered and said, no, my Lord, I am a woman of a sorrowful spirit. I mean, how many women are in a sorrowful spirit because they can't have children? They clapping it up. They high-fiving each other. They twerking on each other, right? Oh, yeah, I ain't trying to have no kid, and they start twerking on each other. Like, that's a celebration. When Hannah, a mighty foremother of ours, she was in bitterness of soul. She was in sorrow. And it says, I have drunken, it's like I've drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but I've poured out my soul before the Lord. Count not thine handmaid for a daughter of Belial, for out of the abundance of my complaint and grief have I spoken thitherto. Then Eli answered and said, go in peace, and the God of Israel grant thee the petition that thou hast asked of him. And she said, let thine handmaid find grace in thy sight. So the woman went her way and did eat, and her countenance was no more sad, because she trusted in the Lord. Now listen to this. Verse 19, and they rose up in the morning early and worshiped before the Lord, and returned and came to the house to Ramah, and Elkanah knew Hannah his wife. So Elkanah laid down with his wife, and what? And the Lord remembered her. So she literally begged the Most High, even offered a vow, and guess what? The Lord remembered her. The Lord opened up her womb, and then guess what? She had Samuel, man. A mighty prophet, a mighty forefather of ours, man. Right? I'm going to look at Matthew 1:18. The Lord can bless you with children, and you don't know who that child can be back on the earth. She couldn't even have children. Vowed unto the Lord, and guess what? Now you have Samuel on the scene. And Samuel was a mighty forefather of ours. I mean, think about Joseph and Mary, man. Let's go to Matthew 1:18. The Lord blessed Mary to be the mother of Yahushua. You think that was a light thing, to be the mother of Yahushua? That's a beautiful thing. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 1 and verse 18. Now the birth of Yahushua HaMashiach was on the wise, when as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with the child of the Holy Spirit. Right before they had their ceremony, right before their families came together, he already had laid down with her privately before that. Right, he didn't follow the customs that that was supposed to be had, you know, with our people. Because usually you will have the mother, her side of the family, the father's side of the family, they'll come together, they'll eat and drink. You read that in the book of Tobit, you can read that in the book of Genesis, right, where both families will come together, right, and they'll eat and drink together. But Joseph already laid down on his ribs, she was found with child, right? And guess what? Verse 19, then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privately. But while she thought on these things, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Joseph, thou son of David, fear not to take unto thee Mary thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Spirit. Imagine the Lord, or an angel, the Lord sending an angel down and saying, hey, guess what? Don't worry. In that, your rib's womb, there's a child of the Holy Spirit within her. I mean, brothers would fall out. Brothers wouldn't even know what to do next. Brothers would jump up and down. Brothers would say, me? Brothers start stuttering. First of all, an angel came to you, and then he tells you what's in your rib's womb, man. It's no small thing. It's not just an average Jake. It's a child of the Holy Spirit. She is the mother of Yahushua. She was, not everybody can be the mother of Yahushua. She was blessed to be the mother of Yahushua, man. If that's not a light thing. Verse 21, and she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahushua, for he shall save his people from their sins. Now all this was done that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is Yahweh is with us, man. So she was the mother of Yahushua. She wasn't just looking at her kid like any other Negro, man. Damn Tay-Tay, man, slapping him in the back of his head. He running around in diapers. She not really taking care of him. Right? This is the child of the Holy Spirit. And the Lord blessed her with that. So having children, man, is a very, very serious and a very rewarding thing from the Most High, if you're allowed to even do that. Let's go to Genesis chapter 18. Now, this is by faith. Right? We know Abraham and Sarah, damn near everybody on this damn earth came from Abraham and Sarah, man. Right? Multitudes of nations, kings shall come out of thee. That's what he told Abraham. Right? You got to understand, Abraham and Sarah, damn near being 100 years old, they had no children, man. Right? But guess what? Isaac came on the scene, and now nations come out of Abraham. and thousands of thousands come out of Sarah. And that's through faith. Right? It's Genesis chapter 18, start at verse 10. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to... Let me start verse 9. And they said unto him, where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, behold, in the tent. Right? So yeah, Yahweh and 2 angels came to Abraham. In verse 10, he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which was behind him. And now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women, right? Because she, you got different cycles for women. You got menopause and different things. So she wasn't able to have children. She was of old age, 90, 100 years old, man. Imagine telling your 90-year-old grandmother, yeah, you about to have another child. She gonna look at you, she's like, boy, go sit down. All right, Granny can't have no more kids. So the Lord told Sarah and Abraham, y'all gonna have another child, man. Right, let's see what happened. Verse 12, therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? Right, I'm old and my husband being old also. You think I'm gonna have children? Right, because she's old. That was a funny thing to her. But let me see what happened. Verse 13, and the Lord said unto Abraham, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of a surety bear a child, which I'm old? And is there anything too hard for the Lord? At the time appointed, I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. So Sarah and Abraham, they didn't have no children, man, together in their old age, right? But hey, guess what? Their children through faith is as the sand of the sea, as the stars of heaven. So the Lord can do anything. Is there anything too hard for Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah? Right, verse 15. Then Sarah denied, saying, I laughed not, for she was afraid. And he said, nay, but thou didst laugh. And the men rose up from thence and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. Verse 17, and the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham the thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. So that's where faith comes in. If you're not able to have a child and you want a child, you gotta understand, these are the same, Abraham and Sarah, the same two people that didn't have children all the way until, old age, man. They didn't have children together until old age. And now nations and kings and multitudes of people come out of them. And they didn't have their first child to them, they're 90 to 100 years old. They're not like Jake now, where, you have Jake and Eve have a baby at 16. Right? Jake and Eve have a baby at 19, 20 years old. They didn't have that, man. They was 90 to 100 years old. That's a blessed thing to do, man. That's a blessed thing that the Lord did for them, our forefathers and our foremothers. That's what Proverbs 13 to 22. All right. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 13, and verse number 22. A good man leaveth an inheritance of his children's children. Hey, let me read that again. A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. So now that you have children, you should be working hard. One, walking in your integrity. Two, working as hard as you can to leave an inheritance to your children's children. Right? You want to leave an inheritance to your children's children, meaning what? A house and the riches are an inheritance from the Lord. I'm going to Proverbs chapter 19, verse 4. 19 and 14. Right? So the Lord's going to tell you that. Right? This is Proverbs 19 and 14. Houses and riches are the inheritance of fathers, and a prudent wife is from the Lord. So the Lord said houses and riches are inheritance of fathers, man. You should want to have a house. You should want to have a home, right, to house your children in, right? You should want to have, riches, right? You should want to have certain things to give to your children, man, right? You want to have certain things to provide for your children. You don't want to just be just a Negro, man, out here just doing anything, right? If you got to work certain jobs and you got to kind of do what you got to do, you know what I'm saying, for the Lord, for your children, then that's what you got to do. What you got to do, man, right? In righteousness. That don't mean you just go start selling certain things, right? If you got to work with your hands, you got to do manual labor, right? You may got to, what they got, Uber, you may got to Instacart, you may got to do, it may not the best jobs, but you got to provide, man. You got to have house in the riches, man, to give to your children. You should want to build up an inheritance for your children, man. I'm going to Deuteronomy 32 and verse 8. right? Because at the end of the day, we are the Lord's inheritance. And the Lord gives us an heritage. He gave us these laws, statutes, commandments to pass down to our children. Right? Let me go to Deuteronomy 32 and verse 8. Let's do the book of Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. So we are the lot of the Lord's inheritance. We are the Lord's inheritance, man. Right? As your children are your inheritance, we are the children of the Lord. So the way the Lord deals with us is the way you should be dealing with your child, man. The Lord takes care of us. He forgives us, and when we go off, the Lord chastises us. The Lord judges us when he needs to, kind of reproves us. Right? The Lord does certain things to us. We got to do the same, have the same attitude towards our children. Right? I can get one more get a few more. Right? It's not going to be too long, but we got to understand children are an inheritance from the Lord. This is the book of 1 Kings chapter 2. And you got to be able to teach your children. You got to be able to teach them something, man. You don't want to be that father where your child is your best friend. He's your homeboy. You say, what's going on, bro? Your child is 6 years old saying, what's going on, bro? You got children that do that. They do these little skits on Instagram. You know, people think it's funny. They laugh, you know. And, you know, the child slapping the father in the back of the head. He said, what you doing, man? Why you do that? Right? He said, go give me a honey bun. He said, oh, go get him a honey bun. You're not supposed to have that relationship with your child. Your child's supposed to fear you in righteousness. How we fear the Lord. Your child's supposed to have that same respect for you, man. Oh, that's my father. He don't play. Right? Your child should be able to, open up to your child, and your child should be able to have the same relationship. But he's supposed to fear you in righteousness, man. All right, it's 1 Kings chapter 2 and verse 1. Now the days of David drew nigh that he should die, and he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man, and keep the charge of the Lord thy God, to walk in his statutes, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments, and his judgments and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, and whithersoever thou turnest thyself. So he told him, keep the law, statutes, commandments to be strong, man. And King David was about to die. This is what he told King Solomon, his son. Walk in the way of the Lord. Have integrity and do the commandment, man. Be a man. Right? He's telling his child to be a man. Right? He's giving his child advice on how to rule a kingdom. Are you going to help your child learn how to rule a kingdom? To have a household, to potentially be married one day to a woman, to potentially be the head of the household? What are you teaching your child if you have one? You got to really meditate on this, man. And although myself being a young man, all praise to the Most High, I just had my second child. But when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me. I got to understand, and other brothers got to understand, you got to be able to teach your child, man. It's not a light thing having a child. You got to be able to provide, you got to be able to work. You got to be able to raise them up in the law, statutes, commandments, and you got to be able to teach your child how to teach. So he can be able to do the same thing in due time with his children. He can be able to teach his rib. He can be able to lead in righteousness. Let me go to the book of Sirach chapter 30. This is what it means to have a child, man. This is what it means to have a child. This is Sirach chapter 30 and verse 1. He that loveth his son causeth him oft to feel the rod, that he may have joy of him in the end. So right now, your child may, he may have throwing tantrum tantrums if he's young. He may be, kind of, running around, kind of hyper in righteousness. He may, mess up. But hey, guess what? It's up to you to cause him off to feel the rod so you can have joy in him in the end. Right? And it says, he that chastiseth his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance. Right? So among your friends, your child is disciplined. He not yelling at other people. Right? He at the feast days, he's 7 years old kicking other kids in the teeth. Right? He not doing that, man. But he knows how to conduct himself because his father and his mother taught him, or her. Verse 3, he that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Though his father die, yet he is as though he were not dead, for he have left one behind that is like unto himself. Hey, read the book of Maccabees. As soon as Mattathias died, Judas was raised up, man, in his father's stead, a lion against his enemies, man, just like his father was. Then Jonathan, then Simon, all right, then John Arcanus. Right? And then you had the lineage keep going on and on, raised up like into their fathers. And it's like their fathers were never even dead, because their children, guess what, were living and carrying that name, was carrying that same image. Like how we got to walk in the image of our Father. Right? And it says, Verse 5, while he lived, he saw and rejoiced in him, and when he died, he was not sorrowful. He left behind him an avenger against his enemies, and one that should requite kindness to his friends, man. Right? So you left one of this an avenger to your enemies. Damn, he finally died. Woo! All praises, our enemy is dead, and they turning up. But they said, hold on, who wants to wage war against us? Who is this now? That's his son? Oh man, now you gotta go through a whole nother generation of this. Your son and your enemy just grieving for a whole nother generation because your son is doing the same thing that you were doing, and that's giving the enemies hell, man. Right? That's what you want for your child, to be an image like you, to be raised up in your image, man, and ultimately in the image of the Most High, but to be raised up as a godly man or a godly woman after the image of the mother, man. All right? Let me even get this in Ezekiel, because if you have a daughter, she's gonna mirror the mother. All right, so whatever the mom is acting like, that's what the daughter's gonna be. The daughter's righteous, then the mother's righteous, then the daughter's gonna be righteous. If the mother's a whore, the daughter's gonna be a whore. Right? It's Ezekiel 16:44. Not in every situation, but majority situations, that's how it's gonna be. Right? It's Ezekiel 16:44. Behold, everyone that useth proverbs shall use this proverb against thee, saying, as is the mother, so is her daughter. So that's the same thing. The same thing you want your son to be raised up like into your image. If you have a daughter and you're a woman watching this, or even a man, you should want your daughter to mirror how your woman's acting. Godly, submissive, right? Strong, right? Knowing the laws of the Most High. Not easy to be taken advantage of, right? Disciplined in mind and in body. Wise, prudent, shamefaced, right? Discreet. These are the attributes you want your daughter to be raised up in. And you want your men to be strong, right? Verse 7, Sirach 30:7. He that maketh too much of his son shall bind up his wounds, and his bowels will be troubled at every cry, man. Right? So when you read on this chapter, it's going to tell you how to kind of deal with your son in righteousness, or deal with your daughter in righteousness, man. But this is what it means to have a son from the Most High, or a daughter, right? But with that, I'd like to give a call halala Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. Like I said, it's going to be a very quick cold cut, right? Just on my spirit to kind of do this. Right? All praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. Have a mighty Shabbat. Keep the Sabbath holy. I'd like to be a mighty strong Shalom.